intrepid travelers, it's Bill, and today I want to try something completely different over the next several episodes of the Thailand Adventure Secrets podcast. What I'm going to do, I'm going to document the process of designing my new Thailand expedition right here on the podcast. It's going to be so cool. I'm so excited. Not after the expedition is finished, not after I've already selected the hotels and I've booked the transportation and negotiated with all the operators. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to build it together. We're going to start from a blank sheet of paper today. And I'm calling the expedition, at least for now, the Deeper Into Thailand Expedition. The idea behind this expedition is pretty simple, and I think you'll follow along. I don't want to take you to the places that everybody else has been to. You know, the crowded tourist zones, and you get, those tourist zones, they suck at the life out of an otherwise amazing vacation. Although they're incredible places to see, there's just so many people that it's just like really difficult. In fact, I don't want to start with the destinations at all. That's the key thing for this. I'm not starting with the destinations. Okay, all right, Bill, what will you do? Well, I don't want to do this. You see, I don't want to start by saying, okay, we're going to like old Bangkok, and then Chiang Mai, and then Phuket, and then Krabi, and then Pattaya. And then after that's all said and done and putting all that together, okay, now that we've got that, what can we do here? That's actually how most vacations are planned. You choose the destination and then you choose the hotel and then you start Googling things nearby and to see what you can do and to see what experiences you can have there. But I think that's backwards, to be honest with you. For this expedition, I'm starting with one completely different question that I ask myself. What bucket list things do I want you, when you come to Thailand, do I want you to experience? Pretty simple, but that's the starting point, and it's a different starting point than most other vacations start with. Because I believe that the best vacations aren't really about the destinations. They're about the experiences, and certainly Thailand has some of the most unique experiences that you can have anywhere in the world. Think about your own travels, though. Think about where you've already been. 5 years later, do you remember the hotel room? Probably not. I can't really remember very many. Do you remember which highway took you in between the cities, or even how you got from one city to the other city? No, you probably can't. I know on my last trip to Japan, I know that we went from city to city in a bus, and that was kind of boring. But I bet you'll remember when you're rafting down a jungle river, jumping into that river in the middle of a Thai jungle, or maybe it's jumping off a bamboo raft into that river with all your new friends. Man, I can remember that, 5 years later, no problem. I bet you'll remember seeing a wild elephant walk out of the trees in a national Thai park while you're hiking to somewhere above the clouds. I bet you remember that. Wild elephants walking out of the trees. Whoa, what's going on there? I bet you'll remember swimming through a dark cave and then suddenly emerging into a hidden lagoon with a beautiful tropical beach secluded with no one else there but you and your friends. You'll remember that. You'll remember sitting across from a Buddhist monk, asking him questions about life. You'll remember the first time something enormous appeared underneath you while you were snorkeling and someone yelled out, "Hey, a whale shark!" Right? Okay, I haven't remembered that one because it hasn't happened yet, but we'll see. It'll happen soon. Those are the things those are the memories that we're going to take home with us. And that's where we're starting. We're starting with the possibility of the experiences first, not the destinations. Okay, notice, though, that I said the possibility of. I can't guarantee 100% of these, but some of these experiences are so life-affirming that it would be silly not to try. So on this expedition, if we're going deeper into Thailand, we're going to try to do some of these incredible life-changing bucket list things. And I've also decided that during the first stage of designing this expedition, I'm not going to worry about the money. Well, at least I won't worry about the money in the first phase. I'll worry about the money later on in the process, because I know some of this might just get real expensive, but I have said this many, many times, and I'll continue to say it over and over and over again. There is no better value for your vacation dollar on planet Earth than Thailand. And I've been to a lot of places, and I'm telling you that for your vacation dollar, that's the truth. So first, we're going to design the dream vacation, and then I'll figure out how to make the economics work. I'll negotiate group rates. Group rates are always better, and I'll negotiate directly with the operators. We'll take advantage of the fact that we're traveling together as a group, and that brings a whole different dynamic to this particular expedition. We'll make intelligent choices, but I'm not going to eliminate something from the brainstorming session or the first stage because someone says, "Hey, Bill, that sounds expensive." At this point, I don't care. The first question I have is, and this will be the acid test, is it mind-blowing? Is it memorable? That's the standard for me to put it on the list. Is it mind-blowing? Because if I'm going to ask you to fly halfway around the world, and if you live on the East Coast or, the Midwest of the United States, it is literally halfway around the world, and give me 2 weeks of your life, every single day needs to contain at least one moment where you stop and you look around and you go, "Oh, OMG, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this." That's the expedition that we're going to design together here on this podcast. Over the next several episodes, I'm going to take you through exactly how I build it. Step 1, the experiences, right? The first thing we're doing is narrowing down everything into 14 incredible experiences. One major experience for every morning of the expedition. And I don't mean sightseeing stops. If you know the story about me going to one of my bucket list things in Osaka Castle, I can't really, it was a sightseeing stop, and that was great, but I can't really, cross it off my bucket list yet, right? We're not trying to collect photographs standing in front of famous landmarks, although we will take a lot of Instagram-worthy photographs. I want experiences that involve you, get you to participate. Experiences where you're swimming, you're climbing, you're sailing, you're cooking, you're hiking, you're learning, you're talking to someone new, you're exploring something and discovering something different, maybe something about you, something inside of you, something that's going to happen to you. You weren't simply there observing, you were participating. A few minutes ago, I sat down. Actually, this happened yesterday, but I'll say it. A few minutes ago, I sat down and gave myself 120 seconds, a 2-minute drill. And it might actually have been less than that, but I think it was the full 2-minute drill. And I simply started writing down experiences I've had here in Thailand, experiences that I've loved and I remember, experiences that I want you to have, and experiences where I thought, what would make one unbelievable day, just one, on this expedition? I came up with 27, boom, almost immediately. I did the 2-minute drill. I wrote down everything that came to mind. And so let me run through them quickly for you. I'm not going to explain them all here yet. Maybe that's on a different episode, but just listen to the possibilities. Here we go. Here, I'll get the clipboard out. Right? And I'll start to read them best I can. Let's see. Search for and swim with a whale shark. You know me. That's always going to be 1 or 2 on the list until the day it actually happens. Dive or snorkel on the HTMS Chang shipwreck near Koh Chang. That life-changing maybe if you're a diver. And even if you're not a diver, you can still snorkel it. Have an incredible ethical elephant experience, get a kiss from Yaya, something like that. Climb a waterfall, hike along the crest of a mountain, or hike up a mountainside to a mountainside temple. Search for the dusky leaf monkeys. Those are the cute ones. The babies are orange fur babies. Oh, I love them. They're not naughty macaques, the macaque monkey, although macaque monkeys, if you've never seen them, they're kind of fun too. Spend a meaningful time with a Buddhist monk about lessons from the Buddha. Take a Thai cooking class. Go on a whitewater rafting trip through the jungles of northern Thailand. Find a secret beach and snorkel off of it. Great snorkeling with all the zebrafish. Watch a fire show on the beach. Okay, that one is going to be part of the dinner planning phase. I guarantee you will see at least one fire show, because I love the fire shows here at Thailand on a beach. Sail my little Hobie Cat, the magic carpet, to a tropical beach location that there is no resort at. Explore a cave that opens into a hidden hong or a lagoon with a mangrove beach and monkeys there. Take a hot air balloon flight over the mountains in northern Thailand. Explore the ancient temples of the Angkor Wat complex. Okay, I know, it's Cambodia, I got it. But still, it's Siam in my book, and it's not too far away, right? Stay with the Thai family in their guest house. That's so much fun. And maybe have mugata there. Go bamboo rafting, swim through a cave to a hidden tropical lagoon, like the Emerald Cave we're talking about. Ride an overnight train through Thailand. We can either do it north to Chiang Mai, but since Lonely Planet featured it back in like 1997, it's pretty much packed. But there is an overnight train down to Surat Thani, which could be just as fun. And that takes you down to the durian plantations, which is pretty cool. Trek through the jungle, searching for the Raphalias flower, the largest individual flower in the world. Experience the Yiping Lantern Festival. Experience the Rocket Festival in Thailand. Experience the Surin Elephant Festival. It's the elephant roundup, but it's awesome. They take care of the elephants there. It's a big elephant buffet, actually, for the elephants. Experience the traditional Thai culture at the Thai Dancing Festival in Udon Thani. Thousands and thousands of beautiful Thai dancers all in one procession. Really cool. Dive and snorkel one of the world's great reefs, possibly somewhere like Richelieu Rock would be good. You could still do some snorkeling there as long as the current wasn't too much. Explore a small Thai island by motor scooter, always one of my favorites, and spend the night somewhere extraordinary, camping above the clouds, in the mountains, or glamping in a safari tent beside a tropical beach, or beside an elephant camp. Of course, all of those will have air conditioning as well, except for maybe the one above the clouds. Sometimes it gets rather cool up there. So that was 27 in about 120 seconds. And that's just what it just came out of my head, or to begin with, without deep thought. There's gonna be more, I promise you. And a lot of them, will disappear. Some will combine with other experiences and kind of do a 2-for-1 for the day. And then there will be some experiences that neither you nor I have ever even thought about yet. And that might eventually become one of the highlights of the entire expedition. We'll see it unfold together right here on this podcast. But eventually I have to cut the list down to 14. Okay, cue my sad face here, because it's so good. But I do have to get it. We only have 14 days, so I've got to get it down to 14. And I've already developed one test for deciding what survives that list. Here's the test. Will I still be telling that story, or will you still be telling that story 5 years from now, or a decade from now? Will you be telling that story? If the answer is no, I don't think it belongs. Right? And then step 2 in the whole process, and this will be other podcast episodes, but step 2 is the destinations. Only after we have chose the experiences are we going to ask where they could happen at, because in a lot of those, especially the elephant stuff, that could happen almost anywhere except for Bangkok in Thailand. So that's when we choose our destinations. And this is where the Deeper Into Thailand thing is going to be very different from the first Magic of Thailand expedition. We're going deeper. I don't want to build these experiences around the tourist zones. Keep me away from those huge, massive speedboats that drop off 30 people at a time and they just come one after the other. And keep me away from all those jet skis that like just rock your boat and make you throw up. Anyway, for example, we might catch a longtail. We'll catch a catamaran. It is a catamaran, but it's a motorized catamaran from Phuket to Koh Yao Noi. But that's about it for Phuket. Like, we could go to Phuket and land there, go to the dock, catch the special boat, and go to Koh Yao Noi. But that's it for Phuket, unless we somehow get around to a secluded cove near Lily's elephant camp. I've done that before, and that works out pretty good. But that's on the east coast of Thailand, and that's just like crowded with so many tourists, at least during the southwest monsoon. Anyway, I'm much more interested in the tiny village that has the perfect experience than I am visiting a place simply because millions of tourists have already recognized it and been there, and you recognize the name and they say it's gorgeous. Okay, yeah, Phi Phi Island is gorgeous, but we probably won't go to Phi Phi Island because there's just too many dang people there, right? If one of our 14 experiences happens to be in a little town that most Americans have never heard of, great, that's what I'm trying for, all the better. That's where we're going, right? The best version of an experience is, on an island, let's say, where there's hardly any international tourists. Again, that's what I'm going for, even better. So, you can always see Phi Phi Island after you've fallen in love with the authentic Thailand that I'm going to show you. And that's kind of how I would do it, because if you go to Phi Phi Island and you don't fall in love with Thailand, and you're never coming back, and then you'll never get to visit, and you'll never get to see the authentic Thailand that I think you should start with. Now, after you actually do fall in love with the authentic Thailand, you know what? I've got an expedition that goes by Phi Phi Island and all those iconic places, and we do it in such a way to try to keep you out of the tourist zones, at least for where you're going to stay over the night, so you can get a lot of recuperation. All right. So for this particular the Deeper Into Thailand, it's expedition. It's experience first, destination in second. All right, step 3, and we'll talk about this in a whole cool podcast that I've already got running through my mind, the transportation. Okay, we're going to figure out how to get there. And I think even the transportation should be memorable. I don't want transportation to be always something that we have to endure between the experiences. Maybe we're thinking about a 50-seat bus that you spend half your day on. Okay, in one or two cases, we might have to do a minibus or something like that. Remember, these expeditions are going to be capped off at 24 people, so we'll never have a 50-seat bus. But, that could happen. I don't want to say it isn't out of the possibility. But we're not going to do it like the whole time. And sometimes transportation can be the experience, I've found. Especially the whole motorbike thing. Imagine taking an overnight sleeper train across Thailand, or boarding a special built-out luxury long-tail boat and traveling upriver to a really cool destination, or sailing between islands on your own private sailboat, taking a local ferry, traveling by bamboo raft. Those have all happened. Maybe hop aboard a Songtel, that's a pickup truck with these 2 benches in back, to somewhere really remote. Maybe there's a mountain road where the journey itself is incredible. I'm thinking of Koh Yao National Park, Khao Yai National Park for this one. Sorry, guys. I want us looking at the transportation and asking kind of the same question. Can we turn, getting there, into part of the bigger story. Because one of the biggest mistakes travelers make when they come to Thailand is they go too many places and they have too many transfers and they spend too much time in the transfer, situation. And then trying to make every transfer as fast as possible. So not enjoying part of that time. I mean, if you're spending half your time in transfer, which I'm not doing on this, but if you're spending half your time in transfers and you're not enjoying it, what's the point? Man, sometimes that's exactly what you want though. Meaning you want to enjoy the transfers. But sometimes slowing down creates the memory. And what I meant by sometimes it's exactly what you want is that fast transfer. Just get it over with. I'm not going to many places. I'm hopping aboard a plane and going from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, let's say. Sometimes that's really the best answer because it's only an hour and a half flight. Okay, then step 4, another episode, I guess, is where do we sleep? And then we'll pick the accommodations after we've got, the experiences, then where we'll be, then we'll pick the accommodations. Again, not starting with 5 stars or any stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, whatever, right? I don't care. I'm starting with, is it memorable? Is it unique, right? Is there a place to cool down? Because that's always in the back of my mind, right? Thailand can get pretty steamy, and there's only maybe 3-4 weeks of the year that is just absolutely beautiful. Everything else we got to build around the heat, which is okay. We can do that, but you got to do it with purpose, right? So I'm starting with, is it memorable? Is it unique? Maybe it's one night we're in a beautiful resort, and that might be 5 stars. Maybe another night we're sleeping in a family-run guest house in a hut made totally of bamboo. Maybe we're sleeping above the clouds and waking up and looking to a sea of clouds underneath us. Maybe we're beside a river and we feed the fish at night. That's kind of fun. Maybe it's a tent with air conditioning overlooking the sea itself, right, on a cliffside. Maybe it's a cliffside villa with a beautiful pool all to yourself. Each villa has a pool. There's a place on Koh Yai that I really love for that. Maybe it's somewhere accessible only by boat and we're sleeping on your own catamaran. Maybe somebody hands you breakfast in the morning and it's their grandmother's recipe. Or, how about this one? Maybe it's an elephant that hands you breakfast. Wait a minute. Strike that. Maybe it's an elephant that trunks you your breakfast, right? The accommodation should help tell the story of the expedition. It should cement the memory. And I think that's important. There's nothing wrong with a luxury hotel. And if you know me, you know I love a great hotel, a great 5-star hotel like the Akira, especially at Thai prices. When you come to Thailand, it's really cool because you can stay in some really, really cool 5-star hotels like the Mandarin Oriental that would just cost you an arm and a leg if you did it in, like, say, New York City. I'm thinking of the Mandarin Oriental, which is really cool. Mandarin Oriental, for me, is the best hotel in all of Thailand, bar none, the one in Bangkok, because of the history, the Ernest Hemingway thing. We'll talk about that in another episode. But if all 14 nights, or in this case 13 nights because you're flying out on the last night, if all 13 nights look exactly the same, I think we've missed an opportunity there. So we'll definitely keep that in mind. Okay, that brings us to step 5, the 13 dinners. Okay, most other tours, I think they say, okay, how can we get these people fed and not really think about it, purposefully. And then we're going to design something that, again, most other tours never plan this deliberately, right? Every evening is a special opportunity for a team dinner. 13 nights, 13 dinner experiences, hopefully none really the same. Again, we're not simply packing in restaurants or picking restaurants. We're picking experiences for the restaurants or wherever we're eating. Maybe one evening we're eating with a family that we're staying with, a Thai family, and they have recipes handed down generation to generation. Another night we're sitting beside the river. Another night we're eating at a seafood restaurant right on the beach, and somebody caught the fish that morning. It's totally fresh. Maybe we're in a tiny local restaurant where there isn't an English menu. Most of the places I eat now don't have English menus. Maybe there's live Thai music, and that's pretty cool. Maybe there's a beach bonfire. We'll definitely do that. And of course, we will see at least one fire show on the beach at dinner. I promise you that's something that you really need to see. Maybe we're eating on the boat, on a boat, maybe a rice barge on the River of Kings, maybe. That one's kind of expensive, but we'll see. Maybe we're sitting on a deck outside in the mountains overlooking the valleys below. Thinking of a place that's built on a top of a mountain and has this big tree, and it's like there's these suspension bridges to the tree, and then the tree is where the restaurant is built. It's kind of cool. The suspension bridges kind of make it. Maybe one evening, though, we're in a market where everybody gets 500 baht to build a whole dinner together. Like everybody gets 500 baht, and you go out and you grab something that would be good. And we all come back to a table and we share everything that we've bought. It's really kind of cool. I don't know. We'll see. But I have some interesting ideas that are already percolating in my mind. So that's the fun part. But the dinner should give the group a chance to bond, right? That dinner has got to be special. Talk about what happened during the day, laugh, tell stories, and connect deeper with the team. Because it isn't going to be 16 to 24 or 8 people individually taking the same vacation. It's an expedition team, and I think it makes it magical. I think it makes it something so much better. And by the end of the 2 weeks, I want the meals to be one of the reasons that the team becomes a group of friends, not just individuals. So those are the 5 stages. And then we've got to tie it all together and negotiate all the prices. But those are the 5 major stages: the experiences, the destinations, the transportation, the accommodations, and the special meals. Now, if you know anything about my expeditions, what we try to do, and it's hard to do, but what we try is get up in the morning when it's not so hot, and we do that one awesome bucket list thing per day, and then kind of we go back to regroup wherever it is that we're going to regroup, and we relax. And if you want to go out and explore some more on your own, I'll have a menu of choices that you can do, and here you go. This is great. Or you can get a massage, whatever you want, or stay out of the heat of the afternoon, whatever it is. But we always come back at sunset for sundowners, and we have that magical dinner to get together. So, but today, at least in the next couple episodes, we're only working on number 1, the experiences. And I want to tell you about 3 that are already very high on my list that I think will probably make it. Right? Experience number 1, searching for a whale shark. This is the perfect example of what I mean when I say start with the experience. Notice I didn't say, let's go to this particular island. I said, I want to swim with a whale shark. Now, I know we have a problem to solve here. Where in this part of the world do we have the best realistic opportunity to do that during the dates that we're traveling? And that's where my research comes in and my on-the-ground expertise. Right? I have a pretty good idea, though maybe the timing takes us somewhere slightly different than the first tour that we do, the first expedition we do. But imagine the day. We're up early. We're on a boat, masked fins and snorkels, and maybe a little bit of dive equipment for the people that do that. And we're all ready to go. And we're going searching, right? We're going on an expedition. And that's the important word, searching in this case. I actually like the fact that nature doesn't take reservations. Nobody gets to call the whale shark at 8:30 in the morning and say, hey, we're heading out now. Please make sure that you know that we're arriving at 10 a.m. So be there, right? We have to go find them. We have to search for them. We have a purpose. Right? And maybe someone spots something that's different. Maybe the captain changes course. Maybe everyone starts looking at the water, and then suddenly there's a moment. People start putting on their fins and getting their masks on, and then they start to go down, and someone says, get ready, right? and you enter the water, and somewhere below you is the largest fish on the planet Earth, right? Imagine swimming alongside of it, maybe like Kristen did. Imagine swimming on top of it. You're not looking through an aquarium window at this thing. You're looking into its world. It's their home, right? You're just enjoying their space. Now, tell me a decade later, you're not still telling that story if it happened? I promise you will be. And that's what makes this list. Now, number 2 on the experience, spend time with a Buddhist monk. Now, here's the complete opposite experience. There's no adrenaline here. There's no fins. There's no white water. There's no climbing involved. Maybe you're sitting under a sacred Bodhi tree. Maybe we're sitting inside a temple. And we're just talking. I've been around Buddhism for 8 years now in Thailand, and there's one thing that fascinates me every time I go to one of these Wats. It's how many visitors just walk through the temple without really ever understanding what they're looking at, let alone actually participating in some of the rituals there. You know, they take a photography of the Buddhist images or the Buddhist statues. They photograph the architecture, which is really cool. Maybe they photograph the monks, and then they leave. Okay, what if instead we stopped? What if we sat with a monk long enough to actually have a conversation? Okay, tell me about Buddhism. And he starts talking about that and tells you the stories of the Buddha. What do you believe happiness is? What causes suffering? What does Buddhism teach us about fear? What does it teach us about attachment? What does living a good life in terms of Buddhism actually mean? What does a monk think about a bunch of Americans traveling halfway around the world looking for adventure? What does he think about that? Right? Those are conversations I want to have. And maybe afterward, the monk gives us a blessing. Maybe he draws Buddhist symbols for us for protection all along our journey. Maybe he ties a Sai Sin string around our wrist. Maybe we participate in something rather than just simply watching it and taking photographs. That's the kind of experience that can affect people in ways that will surprise them. Now, you might expect a whale shark to be a life-changing day, and it probably will be. But then 6 months later, you realize that the thing that you think about most often is maybe that one sentence that the monk said to you while you were sitting together somewhere in rural Thailand. I promise you, it happens. Right? That's what I mean by connect deeper. That's what connect deeper means. So, along with the connect deeper theme, let's go to experience number 3 I'm thinking about. Staying with a Thai family overnight. The third one is something I absolutely love as a part. We do it one night on the part of the Magic of Thailand Expedition. We stay with a Thai family at their guest house or homestay. Now, it might not be that same Thai family up in Doi Intanon, but it could be. Because there's a point in travel where you stop seeing the country and you start meeting the people who actually live there. And that's part of the magic, right? And everything seems to change a little bit. Maybe we're staying in simple rooms. Maybe there's a farm that's nearby and we kind of get the feel for what they're doing on the farm. Although if it's a rice farm, I don't want you out there in the rice fields. That's backbreaking work. And maybe grandma is cooking. Maybe someday somebody's kid is trying to practice English with you while you're trying to practice your terrible Thai with them. That's always fun. That's always a lot of laughs. Maybe someone pulls out the photographs of your home and they pull out photographs of their grandmother's home. Maybe we're helping prepare dinner and somebody says, "Hey, come with me." And suddenly you're going somewhere that wasn't on the itinerary at all. That's the magic. It really is. And you become a guest rather than their customer. And I think that's one of the biggest differences between tourism and travel, a tour and an expedition. Tourism can sometimes be transactional. It certainly feels that sometimes. You buy an admission, you enter, you take photographs, and you leave, and that was cool. And a lot of times it really is. I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying, Maybe there's more. But when somebody welcomes you into their world, even briefly, and you're connecting, you're learning how they live, you're eating what they eat, you're hearing their stories, and they're hearing yours, and you're sharing. That's what this expedition is excuse me, that's why this expedition is going to be called Deeper Into Thailand, unless I can come up with a better name. But right now, I kind of like that name. We're not trying to see more of Thailand. We're trying to experience Thailand more deeply in different places than normal guests travel to. And those are only 3 of the possibilities. We've got at least 24 more sitting on my clipboard ready to think about. And by the time we're finished brainstorming, maybe there's 35, maybe there's 40. But we're going to make the painful decisions, and only 14 survive. 14 days, 14 mind-blowing experiences, 13 memorable dinners, and 13 unique stays, unique places to sleep. And whenever possible, unforgettable ways to get from one experience to the next. Hopefully there's no filler days. I don't think you'll see any filler days. And that's another rule. If I'm asking you to fly halfway around the world and give me 2 weeks of your life, every day needs to contain at least one moment where you look up at me and you look around and you think, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. And maybe that's the whole point. I don't want you going home saying, hey, Thailand was nice, I think you should go there. I want more than that. I want you trying to explain the trip to your friends and realizing you don't quite have the words to truly explain it to them, right? That would be so cool. I want the photographs, the pictures on your phone that seem absolutely ridiculous when you try to explain what actually happened there. I want you remembering the people, the conversations, the places nobody talks about back home and nobody's even heard of, right? The night somebody couldn't stop laughing at dinner, the morning you got up before sunrise, although yeah, probably not on this expedition. The moment you were nervous, the moment you jumped into the river anyway, you got out of your comfort zone and you did it. The moment you looked at the rest of the expedition team and thought, man, how did this become part of my life? That's traveling far, that's connecting deeply, and man, that is living fully. Now, I need you here. Now, I would love your help on something. Please, I'm doing the why thing in front of me. Please. I gave myself about 120 seconds to come up with 27 experiences, but I'm absolutely certain I have missed some. Actually, I'm sure I've missed many. So here is your assignment, intrepid travelers. Please help me here. If there's an experience in Thailand that you believe absolutely has to be considered for this expedition, please email me. I'll tell you the email now, but it'll be in the show notes too. My email for this is support@thailandadventurenetwork.com. Again, support@thailandadventurenetwork.com. Maybe you've done it yourself, the experience. Maybe you've heard about it. Maybe it's something you've dreamed all along about doing. Maybe it's in some obscure corner of Thailand that almost nobody visits. Yeah, there's still places like that for me. I want to hear about it. Send me an email and tell me what the experience is and why you think it belongs on the Deeper Into Thailand Expedition. Okay, in the next episode, we'll keep working through these experiences and start pulling together some of them through the, is it mind-blowing? Acid test. And we get closer to our final 14. But remember, I need you. I need you to send in what experiences in Thailand you think are possible and should be on the list. And only then will we start putting the dots on the map. So until then, I'm Bill Mullen, the host of Thailand Adventure Secrets, and travel far, connect deeply, and live fully.